Welcome to Château du Rivau. In this video, we'll explore the art of this extraordinary estate, from its bold, art-filled interiors to the timeless gardens that breathe life into every corner. But first, we begin with a table. In part 1 of this story, we followed Chef Andrea Modesto through the chateau's remarkable vegetable gardens, where he shared his philosophy of growing with intention, cooking with restraint, and finding joy in nature's quiet gifts. Now, we step into his kitchen and into a world where heritage meets imagination and every plate is a love letter to the land.
Yet another day in paradise out here. I'm excited because now I get to go have lunch made special by Chef, and then I'm going to be working with the team on filming the inside of the castle. I can't wait to share this series with you, but hopefully you're enjoying some of these behind the scenes sneak peeks of what's to come and get you excited about this new series. Bisous.
Inside the historic courtyard, veiled by rose bushes and creeping vines, lies Le Jardin Secret, the chateau's most intimate treasure. A restaurant with only 20 seats, a table lit not by chandeliers, but by the hush of twilight and the rustle of garden leaves. Here, the walls are built from tuffeau stone, soft, golden, and centuries old, and the view opens to the gardens, where your next bite may have bloomed only hours before. Chef Andrea Modesto brings with him a rich culinary journey, from Michelin-starred kitchens in Milan and Tuscany to Joël Robuchon's legacy in Paris. And yet, his most profound inspiration now grows just steps from the stove, in Rivau's organic potager. This is not simply farm-to-table cuisine, it is garden to art, grounded in the Loire's terroir and uplifted by Andrea's playful Italian spirit. Each dish is crafted in harmony with the seasons, infused with edible flowers, wild herbs, and forgotten vegetables that most chefs would never dare to use. A braised artichoke, tender and layered, filled with sweet onion and melting pork belly. Cod tempura served beside ruby red tuna tartare, delicately topped with flowers from the greenhouse. A risotto whispering of roasted vegetable broth finished with charred lemon jelly, its citrus brightness dancing across the tongue. And for dessert, a white chocolate tartlet with poached pear and almond crumble served like a jewel on a plate. A tiramisu unlike any other, light, ethereal, lifted by floral infusion from the chateau's own garden. Bread is made in-house, baked by the chef himself, because every detail here matters. Every bite must honor what came before it, and every plate is part of a story. Chef Andrea's approach is deeply rooted in sustainability. He speaks not only with his hand, but with his conscience, crafting a zero-waste kitchen, sourcing from local artisans and farmers, and letting the ingredients speak without being silenced by technique. Dining here is not about opulence, it's about restraint, simplicity, clarity. To accompany your meal, the chateau offers a fine selection of Loire Valley wines, Chinon reds, lively whites, and Rivau's own cuvées. Served in the glass-walled greenhouse dining room, the setting itself becomes part of the experience. Transparent, luminous, alive. And beyond the secret garden, in a sun-dappled corner of the estate, is the chateau's second table. La table des fils, the table of the fairies. Here, under broad parasols and the gentle hum of bees, guests gather for lunch in the garden, simple, fresh and joyful. The menu is rooted in the land, celebrating what is ripe, what is blooming, what is good. A vibrant vegetable and floral salad assembled with whatever has just been harvested, a bruschetta with smoked salmon and avocado dressed in blossom from the potager, a warm pâté en croûte of sweet and sour garden vegetables, savory and surprising, a cheese gratin pasta, rich, comforting, and made with local Val de Loire tome. A children's pasta with homemade tomato sauce and fresh basil, because good food should be for all ages. And to finish, a seasonal fruit tart or a dark chocolate tart with a buttery crust, 2 scoops of ice cream beneath the shade of the orchard. Or a plate of fresh Loire goat cheese, served with greens. The drinks are just as local. House wines from Rivau's vines, organic apple juice, Loire Valley craft beers, and herbal teas infused with roses and mint from the Château gardens. It's casual, it's beautiful, and it's part of the soul of this place. Dining at Château du Rivau is more than a meal. It is a celebration of rhythm, of season, of soil, of beauty. The flavors linger long after the last bite, just like the memory of this place.
As you walk through these medieval portals, be prepared to be absolutely transported into a world of creativity and imagination. And who doesn't love a great drawbridge anyway?
We leave the gardens behind now, step across the threshold, and into another world. Château du Rivau is more than a historic monument. It is a living, breathing work of art, part medieval stronghold, part poetic dreamscape. Within these walls, centuries whisper, stories unfold in the stone, the tapestry, the light. And this is our next chapter. Long before the Renaissance, long before tourism or dinner menus or curated exhibitions, there stood a simple fortified house here in the fertile lands of Chinon. Built in the 13th century, its walls were meant for watchfulness, for defence, for war. But by the 15th century, a new dream took root. The house grew into a chateau. A keep was raised, drawbridges were built, moats carved, royal stables added, inspired by the elegance of Italian architecture. It was a place of strategy, but also of seduction. Through the centuries, nobles passed through these doors, horses trained on these grounds, stories layered themselves into the mortar, but time, as it always does, wore the castle down. By the end of the 20th century, the chateau had become a hushed ruin. Forgotten by many, its grandeur faded, its rooms dark and silent. And then came Patricia and Eric Laigneau. In 1992, they fell in love with what others had overlooked. They saw not ruin, but promise. Together they began one of the Loire's great restorations, an 18-year journey of craftsmanship, vision and heart. Eric, devoted to architecture and preservation, took charge of the structure, its roofs, dormers, windows and delicate ironwork. He partnered with Arnaud de Saint-Jouan, chief architect of historic monuments, to ensure every beam, every stone, every line was faithful to its past. They replaced 1,276 square metres of slate roofing, restored a double drawbridge, rebuilt walls, and strengthened a fractured foundation. Meanwhile, Patricia, a scholar of art and imagination, reclaimed the soul of the chateau. She trained at Versailles' École Nationale du Paysage and began to reimagine the chateau as a canvas, not only of heritage but of living wonder. Today, each room inside the chateau is a marvel of texture and narrative.
This castle was built in 1420 by Pierre Bouveau, and it's a really interesting mix of period furniture and very contemporary art.
Enter the feast room, where a monumental Gothic fireplace anchors the space, and a Renaissance fresco, painted in oil by a Flemish master, depicts the banquet of Balthazar. Overhead the ceiling bursts with vines and seasons, painted in delicate detail by an Italian hand. In the salon of the ladies, a 16th century tapestry still adorns the wall, while elegant mullioned windows invite visitors to pause, sit and gaze into the gardens. A soft hush follows you as you wander deeper into the chateau, past Majolica ceramics, past the portraits of the Beauvau family painted by Hyacinthe Rigaud, past rooms that feel half castle, half cabinet of curiosities. Everything is deliberate, everything is alive, and everywhere, art. Patricia has filled the chateau with a vibrant collection that spans from the Middle Ages to the present day. Here, Gothic furniture meets contemporary sculpture. There, a mirrored installation flirts with a 15th century chair. You might hear a horse's hooves echoing across the courtyard. Or is it the immersive sound design, which animates the castle with whispers of tournaments and feasts, of galloping carriages and silken gowns? The chateau becomes a stage, and you, the visitor, its honoured guest. And just beyond the main keep, you'll find something truly rare. The royal stables of Rivau, restored after decades of decay, are the only equestrian buildings in France inspired by the Italian Renaissance. Once in ruins, walls collapsing, inscriptions blackened by smoke, the stone mangers buried under concrete, they now stand proud once more. Here, maxims once painted in verse, lessons on horsemanship and elegance have been uncovered and revived. The building was cracking like a sick oyster, but today it breathes again, thanks to a careful, loving €3 million restoration. Outside, the ancient press and tithe barn have been lovingly restored. The footbath gushes with water once more. The agricultural heritage of Rivau has been revived with both elegance and authenticity. And perhaps what makes Rivau most unique, what sets it apart from any other chateau in the Loire, is its imagination. Patricia's art curation leans into fantasy and wonder. Each room invites the unexpected. Contemporary art pieces, often whimsical, often subversive, appear as though conjured from the very walls. Every year, new exhibitions are installed with a focus on female artists, irony and play. The chateau becomes a fairy tale where modern creatures walk among kings and knights, and where magic is a design principle.
What a fun day this has been. I have been here filming for 6 hours straight. I have so much to share with you. And I'm really grateful. Like, everybody at this location has been so generous with their time and resources, and I hope that shines through.
In 2025, the theme is Surprises at Château du Rivau. And that feels fitting, because Rivau is nothing if not surprising. One moment, you're admiring a Brussels tapestry from the 1500s. The next, you're laughing at a sculpture tucked into a stone alcove that seems to wink at you. It is a chateau of contradictions, of gravity and delight, of stone and story. In every chateau there's a heart, and at Château du Rivau, it beats with vision, with art, with history, and with love. If this journey inspired you, if the whisper of history and the spark of creativity moved you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and follow the full Chateau playlist.